Hello, everybody. You are looking at beautiful new Chirp City. Isn't it spectacular? You know, we started out with nothing but this highway, the main one there, and look how sprawling this city has become. One thing I really am proud of with this city is the dynamic nature, the buildings being clustered together. That's something of a limitation I've placed on myself, and I hope you're getting a lot out of that. I'm Justin, as always. This is the Ronly Conley Twitch stream, or YouTube if you're watching later, and I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching with me. That's the Ronly Conley Twitch stream, and you can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, and you can visit my website, ronlyconley.com. That's R only, C only. Got it? Good. Like I said, I'm glad you're here with me. We've got some fun things to do today. Our residential demand is still pretty high. Last week we created a new neighborhood centered around the historic train station, and that bumped up the population there. You can see just a hair, but not nearly to the point that we need because we're still down about 1,500 workers, which is why the demand is so high. But this is our new neighborhood. You can see it's still pretty sparse. But we've got clear direction of where we want those roads to go and what we need to do for that. One thing you can do to boost your residential growth is to expand your city services, and we've got some new assets here than when we first began. So we've got a higher capacity hospital, holds up to 800. You can increase the capacity by adjusting your budget accordingly, and you can also use these other smaller assets that aren't directly for patients, but they do help your overall health um, percentage there. As you can see, we've got one community pool and we've got a hospital. So we do need a little bit, and this is just the regular, uh, pretty stock vanilla hospital there, which is still pretty cool. Let's see how much bigger the higher capacity hospital is. It's pretty large. Would take out. No, it actually would not destroy that one row of housing, so we could probably at least get over our sick capacity limit there, which would help with some of these downtown buildings that look like they're just a little sad. You want them to be the bright blue, um, and really all of our like these are bright blue. We could add if we expand that hospital out and place some more like communal assets. We could probably balance that pretty well. And I probably would put another hospital over here. This just seems like it's going to be a pretty busy part of the city either way. Either that or we just put a medical center there, and as we expand further, um, I don't know, we'll say that's west, then we can do that. But we could also just build a hospital right on this main line. I mean, between the train lines, that's actually not a bad spot. So let's do that rather than dilly-dallying. And I usually pause it just to minimize the disruption that comes with new growth. I'm going to build a path there, so I'm not going to rebuild over that. But I am going to make these high density, and that's cool that there's connections on the backside there. I don't know that anybody can really use them, but maybe that one will at least. But this pathway we're going to build there should prove pretty beneficial. So then we'll go ahead and hit the play button. I like to go at double speed because it's just a little bit faster. And we don't have all day here. Oh, come on now. Don't do this to me. We'll start from this direction. Nope. That did not go the way I wanted to. Now you are not supposed to be doing this yet. Now one way we could get around this is to get the dirt path. It's just a little more skinny, and I don't know if we're going to be able to pull that off. We could build a road connection there. However, this would be too small of a street, and I really don't want to disrupt that whole neighborhood. It's really not ideal. Tell you what, we'll just pull the trigger on this guy. I was trying to see if I could keep it like I did in the first place, where it... Ah, yeah, look at that. I mean, ideally it would have been a two-seater, but, I mean, two squares there. But we'll just redo that. That'll help it blend some. There's a little connection there. I'm not sure if that's going to be quite enough for Sims to actually pass through, but that'll be alright either way. I didn't know that you could lock onto those assets. I guess that's a back entrance. I didn't know there were nodes there. And I didn't know that there was an empty space there either. If I could do it without destroying two, I'd do it. It's not quite as fine-tuned as I'd like it to be, but it works well enough. I wish it wasn't so dark. We could turn on the night and day cycle, and that would make the difference, but not yet. This is a pretty busy spot, honestly, for this small of a road. Probably could have put it on the double road, but it's mainly just the ambulances trying to get out. It's making it look so congested. 42 ambulances all going out at once. So, for a city this size, and that's the only hospital. But look at all the green arrows that are coming from this as a result of our expansion here. That's why you want to do it. It helps your buildings level up. It attracts new residents because people want to live at a place where they feel like is growing, and there's just a lot to offer them. So our housing completely changed tone from that kind of teal green to this brighter blue. So that's great. Good for us. Give yourself a pat on the back. It'll be like you're giving me a pat on the back, and it'll make you feel good. And it's, just 9:30 in the morning where I'm at, so it's good to start the day off strong. But once again, I want to thank you for being here with me. I always do better when you're watching. Some of these options here. Sometimes these are really cool ways to improve your medical demand, but not give up much in the way of space, really. Just 1 by 2, and it's a pretty cool little building. You can do two side by side and blend them in pretty well. And improves our health on that side by just a little bit. And the last thing I want to do is we'll put a yoga garden because it's a pretty peaceful little neighborhood. Probably should be somewhere pretty centralized. Probably wouldn't be bad to put it around this noisy train station and commercial district. I thought I put a pathway in between those buildings, but I guess not. I always feel bad for making people live right up against the train line. And the green on the roads is your efficiency and the reach of all these medical ambulances. The highway, it only works on one side because they're not really coming from the other direction. But here we can see the gap. So placing it on this in-between road wouldn't really benefit us to the extent that we really want to. But to put it right beside the park, the best place would be to pull the trigger like here. But from a purely aesthetic standpoint, I'm going to place it right there. It kind of blends with this green area that we have with this new pond park that we just put in last time. Let's get on the ground and check it out, shall we? Oh, I'm an old man. Looking fresh, though. The bookstore over there. Power plants way in the distance. I like these large avenues. They really bring a lot of charm. So what could just be a plain, boring city, which this game absolutely was early on. The stock, vanilla roads were pretty plain, concrete. Not a lot of options. Thankfully, their DLCs really added to it. Mods online really helped. I'm on PlayStation, so you really can't get as much, but you don't get to walk around on the PC version, I think. So, go us. I like that station wagon. I wish I could get in and drive that, but I don't think it's an option on these cars, which is a shame. We'll drive around this little punch buggy. We're off the road. Whoa! Not a lot of control there. And we could just drive right through all of these traffic. Somebody's building. Let's hop right on over. Let's walk around the yoga park. I think I might make this house historic. It looks like a good neighborhood house. It's cute. Whoa, it's a family show. Oh, there we go. We've seen. I don't know what's going on with that layout. It's strange for a moment. All right, so we can see we're already improving our value here. All blue here in town. We do need more over here. Having more health options will assist our quest to deal with the noise. Sims hate noise. They never shut up about it, so we'll do something for them. That's the historical library that comes with the seaside resorts, which is where we got the historical train station we just drove by. So really our only other option is this big general hospital, or this, this has the same capacity as this vanilla option. I don't think we really need it at this point. It won't hurt to have another, especially for these downtown buildings. But I just can't feel like I really want to pull the trigger. Another option is to do helicopters where they just go around and pick people up and fly them to the hospital, which we will do at some point. But we can absolutely create a gym, and since we're around all the varsity sports, we can absolutely justify a um, sports hall, gymnasium. We'll place it on the same street where I wanted to put a hospital there, but I don't think it quite works. Um, the sports hall serves the same general purpose with exercise opportunities, and as you can see, the noise has already begun to die down, and that may be because a ball game ended. It does look like there's a fair bit of traffic, but it could also just be um, that new addition of health options. We could place an actual medical facility, around, but we've got plenty of capacity, so not too worried about it. Our 6 citizens number is going down already, so let's check out the age of our citizens. We got this handy-dandy chart. So we've got a lot of adults. Over 50% are adults or seniors. So a death wave is probably coming soon. We took off from building a lot. You can see where the building phases of residential, at least, have gone through. You could chart that, and you can find all of the development that we've done in New Chirp City on the Roly Coney YouTube channel. Got a whole New Chirp City playlist for you. You can see why I made some of the design choices that I have. Sometimes I delete the cemeteries once they're empty, but in this case, I don't really see the need. I like the way that it fits into the city, especially there. Maybe this one, since it is so close to downtown, but even that I'm not sure because it almost feels part of this park. So let me know what you think there in the comments, and that'll be good. Another thing you can do to help with the noise, although in this case it's not quite as helpful, is change the roads to have trees, and you can change the trees to be larger. So we could change it to like a live oak situation, which that actually looks pretty good. It makes the neighborhood look older, um, and it absorbs more of the sound. So to give you a comparison, let's see. Well, it's gonna stay like bright red because that's like as loud as humanly possible. Mostly commercial districts, transit stations, big popular tourist destinations, and industry all add to noise. That's why our Sims are complaining so much. Um, the trees will turn a little white, or at least a lighter shade of pink. We'll just, why not, go ahead and run it all the way. Last time we added this lane to get off of this exit, so if your destination's in this neighborhood or where you're going, you have to go around the whole interchange, that roundabout. That's why it looks a little congested. I think the bigger problem is the cargo shipment. We probably need a second station at this point. This is our, I haven't named them, so I gotta, this is our intra-city. I'm gonna change that so I can keep track of which one is internal and which one is going out of town. Um, and it's important to have two lines, and if you want to know my justification there, you can check that out in, I think, part 7 or part 8 of this series. It just helps with distributing the trains so that there's not a lot of traffic, because sometimes it will get stuck. If you get them overlapping too much, there will be traffic that runs out of your city limits, and I'm talking about past the point that you can even do anything about it. So keeping this internal line separate is a major factor um, in that distribution. You can also upgrade to have like ships, literally shipping facilities with the train line intact. Excuse me. And we'll look at that. Have we unlocked that? I don't think so. I went right by it, didn't I? Yes, so the cargo harbor has no train line directly to it. The cargo hub does. We've got a ways to go. We're still chasing the milestone of Capital City. So that's one reason why we want to get more residents too, to really upgrade our services. By having this train line, all the industry people, in general, they'll go to that train line so they can then send it over here. Somebody else spawns out of the inter-cargo train and take it to the external one over here. So that's why there's a big loop here. But it is starting to get pretty congested, and my adding this lane is not helping there. So that's a problem we got to keep an eye on. I wanted to put more residential zone over here, the high density, at least in this little square. And then as we go further out, we can figure out what to do there. Over here, I want to keep it low density, with the exception of the single spots. And maybe if we wanted to, right around the train station, upgrade it down the line. That would not hurt. I'll put some trees in this space. It keeps bugging me that there's nothing here. So I'm partial to these pinks and the big purple. It just add some good flavor. We've got a few green trees. Let's put in some. Yeah, we'll do some horse chestnuts. Don't really have much in the way of that anywhere. Yeah, that looks a lot better to me. Just hate wasting space, and there's you can break that down however you'd like, but um, don't want to have nothing but crammed city for pollution purposes, for noise purposes as well. I mean, look, the space in between really helps keep that from building up to some extent. Noise is noise, but we could help this noise. And in fact, let's do that. Twitchville, our little neighborhood there that's got limitations on who can pass through. They strike me very much as the sort of neighbors that would love to have sound barriers over the highways. So, look, it's already deadened. Look at that. We just saw it in real time. Finish deadening. That's great. And they're already upgrading to some extent. Now, excuse me, it does, the noise does fluctuate with the amount of traffic. So that's another thing to consider when you're designing cities. How is the traffic flowing and where is the traffic building up? We added this lane to help prevent some of this buildup. And now it seems like it's we're being defeated by the computer minds. an empty landfill there. I am going to demolish the landfill. There's no reason to keep those. I don't like the way they look. I don't need them. Once we get to the point where we need more, we will add more of these wave plants. But we are approaching capacity, so we could still stand to add one soon. I think I might actually connect those roads, but I don't know. I don't know that it would really serve the purpose I need it to. You know what, let's just go ahead and build that. We had another landfill right here, but these other incinerator plants are in the way. As I've said many times before, and I apologize if you've heard it, but in case you haven't, these wave plants are part of the Korea DLC, and they're environmentally friendly by a lot more compared to the incineration plant for the same amount of processing capacity, so absolutely worth the price there. The vanilla version really had very limited options for trash, so definitely worth getting a mod for that if you're on PC. If you're on console, the DLC is worth it just for that, honestly. If you get it on sale, I recently got the hotels and retreats and the airport and the seaside resort packs 50% off on the PlayStation Store. I do not think it's worth buying them full price, with maybe limited exceptions. Haven't touched the financial exchange yet. That is also a DLC pack. That's pretty cool. We'll devote a whole day to that in the future. But first, I think that's a capital city. We'll make that part of our capital city thing. There's no formal limitations with that, but we can impose our own limitations, and we have and shall continue to do so. I think it's better for this area to become more pedestrian. Really, this whole this square that I was talking about with the high density, I think that lends itself to being completely pedestrian, except for these wide avenues, because it's so transit oriented already. And the rest of the town is not that. The pedestrian area is a DLC pack that I picked up much later than when we began New Chirp City, so that's something to keep in mind also. It'll help with the noise, it'll help with the traffic. Well, it can only do so much with the noise, but last time we changed this street to have the tram stops there to try to ease the traffic here. It's not foolproof because the bus lanes are also turn lanes for everybody, and so they're not just used by buses. But it is more flowing better than before, so we'll leave that there for now. Maybe widen that road if we have to. I really don't want to, which is why we haven't. But a lot of people taking the tram. Where are they going? Well, gazebo number 2 is not helpful. Hey, there's the Lemon Whisper. Glad to have you with me again. Today we're focusing on trying to get some residential stuff. We put down a lot of medical facilities. Checking on that, doing better. We started the day at like 82%, or maybe 86, but either way, a lot less sick ones, residents there. I think we should probably actually build some more neighborhoods. Too many circles here. Maybe I'll just go straight for a little while. Doesn't really work the way I want it to. Let's Sometimes you just gotta curve it the opposite direction. It makes it feel a lot more interesting. That's gonna mess everything up if I do this, but now's the time if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I'm toying with the idea of having a liberal arts college in the square when the time comes, and maybe starting it before then, and running this, making this road a wider street also, which would make it easier to just destroy all those things. But we'll hold off on that. Go back over here so I can do the pedestrian paths, because this is really there's no cross between the stations and the stadiums, but it doesn't seem to be bothering the Sims. What is this? Just walking over through hedges. Why did we spend the money on a crosswalk? There's sidewalks and they're just going. I think they're all going to the. I thought the baseball stadium, but maybe they're going to this the pool. Yeah, both right. And this 3 games in one. I guess that's because we built them all at once. I don't know if that's really a problem that comes along, but what do we do? Bluestone here. We did. I don't know. Maybe it's worth changing that, but why does it pick certain spots for me to build pathways? Lock on the angle just so I don't really destroy all the angles. Did that? Well, it's far enough off, at least it didn't mess up the buildings already there. Now I gotta take the angle off because I don't need it as much. Oh, that's beautiful. I really like that. I curve. Sorry. Poor office space. Just couldn't quite hack it. Gotta move our pedestrian area to include our new path. Otherwise, they'll cry. And make sure that our stadium is still in the university, the trade school zone. I mean, what is this? I don't really want to make that a 4 lane, because I like the green, but we might just have to. People turn and go around and cycle through the train station, so I probably should. But it's only on game days that this traffic becomes an issue. Yeah, we'll add the bike lanes. That'll justify it a little bit more. I guess we could keep it in a single lane here. Wouldn't really solve the problem, but um, it would provide another crosswalk where the people are crossing. Let's do that. That's something. It's it'll probably cause well, a random stoplight will cause problems also, but I wish we could do um, an asymmetrical wide avenue where I've got 1 lane on one side and 2 on the second. put in the trees again. But see, the single lanes or the wide avenue doesn't have the street lamps, so you get more trees, and I like that. Having the crosswalk there might cause more problems because of people crossing. Then again, they were already doing that, so why would it make a change? So anyway, we were building this out, so let us resume. I don't know where the actual line for this is. Okay. Go right through the rock. So if we want to cross under, we're probably going to have to raise the rail line anyway. So that makes sense for it to just end there, and we can raise it up later. I like it being low to the ground. I wish you could at least run these pedestrian paths under. I don't think you can. No. I think the unofficial, you know, aka not zoned pedestrian paths, they can go under just fine. So that's probably what we'll do is just keep it low until we have to build a road through, and we very well might here eventually. But right now, I love that it's just a smooth um, rail, you know, ignoring the topographical changes. It's pretty nice. It feels like a magic touch. I thought about putting like a park kind of asset. They got these plazas, and the flower plaza is so small. I kind of don't like it. I wish it were bigger. I need more flowers in my life. They'll help fight the noise to some extent, these plazas, but I wish you could just drop them in the middle like decorations. Forgot to run water line, of course, so why don't I do that? You don't really have to connect them twice. I don't think I have disasters set on for New Chirp City, but if we did, it comes in handy with earthquakes in case a line gets destroyed. You don't suddenly have people panicking with no water supply. Plazas. I was thinking about plazas. I think you can also you got these options as well. Little tiny guys. I like that as much as I thought I would. But I like how small they are. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. And this is the one we placed by the train over there, so we don't really want to. I don't really want to do any of that. And that looks nice. I may destroy that tiny park after all. Change my mind. Also do some of these. So it's still going to be tourist heavy. design, but um, I think their noise is lower than some of them. I mean, this is what I was talking about, the trees on the street. The trees go white. I guess they're stronger in park form than they are just regular trees. I don't know how that works. It's all fake anyway. But they're real to me. I care about my Sims. I hope you care about your Sims. Let's see how these trains are doing. 300 and 240. And that's probably not including all the travel from the games. But traffic seems to be better now. And got some interesting choices we've made. So I think it blends in with the rest of New Chirp City pretty well. And we get some much needed residential zones. Haven't seen a spike in population yet. Hopefully that will come. I'm sure it will. Now I should have laid out another pathway before, but we don't necessarily have to make it the zone. We could sneak a old school non-zone pedestrian path in there pretty easily as well. Could also do like a wide artery for the pedestrian street, maybe. Have another main path, but I don't really like those. I played around with it on one of my other cities, Snow Valley. You can find a Snow Valley episode, I think on Twitch, but there's definitely on YouTube. But it's just from the remastered version, highlighting some of those differences. And I think that we can get away with, since we have such high demand, we can justify the choice of making it basically a grid, which I don't typically love doing. I'm not pleased with it right now, but sometimes it's what the situation calls for. No, don't snap. Ah, we can just get as close as possible without touching. We might be able to connect it. Look at that. Like magic. I didn't really want to do all that now. Mostly because we do have some commercial demand. Might as well put them on the car street and the main road. And this thing is fun. It looks more out of place now that it's we filled out this part of town. We could destroy it at any time, but there's really not a lot of room there to put anything else, and uh, other decorations are just a little too small. One of the Railroad of Japan DLC came with all these like station decorations, and I don't really get why. You can't really make it into really anything. I suppose if you wanted to make it look like a rail yard, you could, but I've not once thought about it, so maybe that's something worth trying. And we can run one of these guys. Oh, don't do that to me. We'll curve it. And I don't want to lose all the trees there, so we'll put some, at least a couple right there. Now, I probably could change the trees to be a different kind, partial to the cottonwoods. I like the live oaks too. 'Cause I had a lot of those trees growing up near me, but I think the cottonwoods look a little more sophisticated and not quite as poofy into the street. Good and tall. Well, great. That's a pretty good build out. It still doesn't quite like make sense to have so much residential over here, but since we did the pedestrian zone, it doesn't feel quite as bad. We're gonna have problems trying to make this excuse me, this road connection because of the way they're crammed together. But then again, um, since they are so tight, we might be able to pull off a 90-degree that doesn't really mess it up too much. One thing that I have failed to do that I could have done is you can specify the building styles. And they have modern city centers for the commercial zone, so I haven't really played with styles much in New Chirp City except for the university housing in this neighborhood. Where do you do the... Oh, it's in this, the residential specializations. You can do wall-to-wall buildings. And that, I think, that did come with the pedestrian zone, so there's that. But we've started raising the population some. We're still down. Somehow we're down more in workers than we were when we started, but sometimes that happens. So we started to expand this. I haven't decided what to do with it, but I really don't want to mess up the circle thing. So our alternate solution is to just make a branch out, and I think that's how I did some of the original designs of the roads here in New Chirp City. And you just treat them, it's kind of like a cul-de-sac almost. No, I don't want you to do a single spot. Well, and that wasn't too painful to add there, so that's nice too. I think I want to change that road to be the median. For some reason, I like doing that on neighborhoods. It just feels like a... And you would really want the bike path to be on the main line, so we'll do that actually, and make the side street the double trees. It feels more like there's not really a cul-de-sac option on these streets. I don't know if there probably is a mod for that if you're on PC, but I wouldn't know. And we can connect it without messing up the circle, because definitely we would have a lot of pain trying to reroute around this circle. We're just going to blow through that rock so we can get more of the this filled out, and they've got a natural way to go to the park, so it ties together rather nicely. Could have ended this cul-de-sac option in a kind of a T situation where we fill out some of that space, but that's room to grow in the future. I'm sort of we've done that. Over here, for example. Sorry, I'm just thinking about which way to approach this from. I was gonna do a zigzag kind of thing, but it wasn't really necessary. I will. If you just do that, and then you can spare yourself the pain part. Yet still extend. We've got this wide sidewalk. That was just because we had other options. I think we should probably change it here. Maybe not at the Arc Park. Arc Park is the Arc de Triomphe. We converted a stock park, and then I think that's like part 3 or 4 of the new Chirp City series. And certainly don't need the wide sidewalks when it's just residential zones. It makes more sense in commercial districts. Although we get a zone here. Medium. Don't get too crazy. Bingo. And you can leave those single spaces as low density housing. It's just my personal preference. Shining through. Just some height variation, but not a ton. Dimension. This one's still got some. I guess in these neighborhoods I might have been more picky to start. And they were probably, these were early neighborhoods too, so they probably we didn't have the option to make the high density, so there you go. We're growing. We've gained about 2,000 people today, so nothing to be mad about. We'll get more as they come. And it helps if you run water. We'll go ahead and connect here because I'm sure we will build there eventually. I can't decide if I want to run a road here to connect or not. I kind of like that it's in its own separate area, but then, all this traffic might go there. We'll think about it. There's a rock in the way. That's why we haven't made the decision yet. It's got to be approved, There's a rock commission in the city of New Chirp. Like trees. Never heard of a tree commission? My university had one of those. They got to decide when and which trees were torn down. Whoa. Why did you build like that? What I wish I had done on this neighborhood last time is make it all self-sustaining housing, and we still could. Those are the kind of things you want to do when you have a ton of seniors, like in an old district. So let's go back to this early one. They're pretty balanced. This is all seniors, this whole building, just the 4 seniors. So we could destroy it or make it rebuild, and you'd be more likely to get younger people in. there is no seniors in there. So, something to consider, but I wouldn't want to do it now that it's a new neighborhood because you'll lose a lot of people. And the same is true with all of these. I mean, we could get away with, rebranding them, but we probably just need to save it for another part of town. The thing with residential neighborhoods, it just takes a lot of planning, and if you do it kind of en masse, then it's a little easier to swallow. Now this is going to mess up all of that intersection, but that's okay. We'll want to make that change because shoot, it's necessary, vital to the cause, and it gives us bigger squares, which I don't think at the end of the day really makes much of a difference, but it feels better, to have a full maxed out 4x4 square. I like it at least. Here we go. Okay. We'll put a high density residential there. Well, we lost one there, it seems. That'll rebuild itself okay. Now, there we have it. And got to get rid of the stoplight. And what we'll do is we can make this road just barely past the rock. The Rock Commission spoke. They said we could build a road, but we could not build through the rock. We could not destroy it. So here we are, making do. It's really wrecked our whole situation over here, but that's okay. We're not going to build there. And your trees die when they go into industry areas, so we can at least do what I did there and just a little bit of industrial expansion. And right where they pass each other, I think we should give us a street down. In some cases, my method here is not really helpful. The one spot being high density, because sometimes they get just as many households in them. So it is absolutely personal preference. We don't really need all these power lines either because they basically are just there for this sewage draining system, so we can get away with clearing that off because you can see everything connects. So we really technically spend money. I mean, $20 a cell to build, 50 cents a week per cell is pretty negligible. Our budget is pretty stabilized, and will only continue to be more stable as we, expand our zoning. I mean, we can always raise taxes. I think our taxes are pretty average. So Don't have to worry about that so much, but we can get away with this just for beautification purposes. A decent amount of traffic going through there, but not too much. Not enough to be mad about. We've got room to continue this path around. Could even just completely hug that rock, which is kind of fun. The commercial district there, or zone, I should say. Big rock. It's not a boulder. It's a rock. It's a rock. Oh, there's your little SpongeBob for the day. Bet you didn't expect it here in New Chirp City. What, you think they don't have SpongeBob? Oh, cool little way to do that. Poor trees are not going to do good, and I'm sure our Sims would not be thrilled to be by the industry there, but we'll plant some trees in their backyard, and they'll deal with it. They didn't have to live here. I mean, honestly, we could improve the path at least. Have trees. But it's just a little wider. And I don't want to. There, a little natural barrier. Let's see if that helps with the noise. Not much, as far as I can tell. But did we not zone there? Is that why? Well, oh, it's just because we zoned so much at once. It's stabilizing. Tempted to do a little cul-de-sac spot there. You can see we did it right on. And I think we might, but there's the risk that we cause a traffic problem. So we could come through here, which would be pretty funny. I put that green block there because although our demand meter does not show it at this time, it will eventually balance out and we still will need more residents. So that's why we've done that. I think it's pretty good filling out that space there in the corner, and we can even just kind of sometimes you just gotta draw and get to where you're going. in between. Fill it in like a coloring book. I turn on the road guide so that I know when I'm in the line of this other one. I don't want it to look stupid, which it is doing for me. It's very nice, isn't it? And then we can do a little of this kind of deal. That's a pretty good little outline. I do think I will make that choice there. We gotta have a connection somewhere that's a real car connection, because these are roads. And unfortunately, it's really messing up the whole layout, but that's okay. Sometimes you gotta make them hard choices. Hard choices. And here, the hard choice is where the heck do we go for those pedestrian paths? A little corner store there. I love a corner store. Now what I'm going to do is, as we're already messing up so many of these houses, now's the time when you're making big structural changes to change the district style. I'm just going to really hug in because I don't want to destroy the ones that are already there. If I can help it, we can hook in for any future building to, and I don't know if these are messed up or not. Let's see. No, they look okay. So, not going to change their districting, but we can go ahead and we'll hug in here. Include all of that. Not you, not you. Sometimes it snaps when I'd really like it to not. In case we put a little cul-de-sac deal in there. I'm just going to smooth out this side of it because we probably will end up pushing past there. Maybe down there. Maybe not, though. I don't expect that we'll zone all the way there because I'm like butting up against the edge. But in the future, we will eventually make it down there. I want the style to be the self-sufficient buildings. And that only applies to residential, I think. So, gotta be prepared for that. I'm just gonna destroy that guy so I know what the heck I'm looking at. Okay, gotta take off the road guides because I don't need that anymore. Really, I don't need that point to even there. Downside of trying to do this when they're not built yet is you don't know when you're clipping the zone like I did there, but that's okay. Okay, ready to see the zoning in action. This is fun. This is the part I didn't expect to do today. So glad you're here with me. Thanks again for being here. It's always good to have you. I get inspiration strikes. You never know when. But we're winding down the stream here today, so I wanted to thank you. Be sure you hit that follow button if you're watching now on Twitch, or subscribe on YouTube if you're doing it later, and follow me on Instagram at @RonelyConley. That's R only C only, and there you can keep up with some of the other things that I'm doing in my life besides playing City Skylines or the PlayStation at all. But I got some exciting stuff coming up, and want you to be a part of that. You don't want to miss it. And you can check out even more cool stuff at @RonelyConley.com. And next time, I want to add another cargo station internationally, because that seems to be pretty heavy. It can even be a continuation of the same layout. And in fact, we've got to move our oil wells around. It is a limited resource. You can see where it's fading this coloration. There's cheats you can do to make that unlimited, but we're trying to go clean in this edition. Got a cute little neighborhood. Um, uh-oh, got a fire. It's always in these places where I just built. Because speaking of expanded services, we don't have any fire control over here on this side of town, so that's a problem. That's a little station. Along with the high-capacity hospital, we've got a fire station option, which I think is probably worth putting downtown. That gives you 40 trucks instead of 25. Um, so I'm gonna just destroy that. And of course, there's no room. Of course, of course, of course. That park is gonna give me trouble. Just gonna destroy the park. Hate to do it, but we'll replace it with a little baby park. Maybe. Little cafe in the neighborhood, why not? We'll move a little path. We could cut a path through there. I don't think we need to because there's already one going to the fire station. Hot dog. I hope they actually use that. I doubt they will because one of the more frustrating points of the game. Oh, but we're elevating. I actually hate that spawn there. But I don't have I don't have a height limit set there. In fact, this is the point where it's not. And we're getting a little bit more of these skyscrapers popping up because we don't have a blanket um, no high-rise policy in effect, so we could expand this to include that there at least. But it does make this one stand out less, which has been a bit of an eyesore. But this one is going to detract from the rest of that area, so we'll see if that is still something that bothers me in the future. So anyway, we were expanding fire, and I'm going to place a fire station. Don't really want to put it actually there, but it might be worth making a road. Yeah. We'll do one that's right at the beginning of that. Ah, shucks. That's okay. I'm just going to scoot this over. And now I'm going to scoot it back. Only built this bus depot for the glitch that was happening where the bus line wasn't working. So, that's why that. Well, that's not the fire sign. Look at that. Problem solved. Fire hazards going lower. We don't have a way for the fire to get to the oil industry there, which is may be a problem, but we could solve that by making this a 2-lane exit ramp. But I don't know if I really care that much, to tell you the truth. The oil industry does not need my help. This is a good place. We could also put a medical facility, a clinic, but I don't know. Probably need a school, all those new residents, but yeah, probably should. We'll save that for next time. We need some more education stuff anyway. I got to fool with the oil industry anyway then. Yeah, pretty low. I probably stand to build a high school over here, in fact. Uh, Police is pretty low. I don't really see a need to expand that. And yeah, it's pretty good work today. Got a lot of new housing, and we'll go ahead and zone some more in here. Probably connect somewhere in the middle, so maybe we'll hold off on that. Connect through there a little more, and that's what we'll do next time. And maybe build a stadium or a college. I'll think on that, but once again, I want to thank you for being here with me. I'm Justin. Be sure to follow and subscribe, and we'll see you next time in New Chirp City. Look at it. Isn't it gorgeous? I think so. So long.